Let me spell out a scenario for you. You have this beautiful house. You're very proud of it. And all of a sudden, you have a leak. And now you have mold. You need mold remediation, but you need to know how much does mold remediation cost. Well, in this video, I'm going to go over what you should expect in a mold remediation quote, and be sure to watch until the end because there's going to be some important information that you can use to save money.
But before we get started, go ahead, hit the like button, and then hit the subscribe button on the bottom right so you can get updates when we put out new videos. So as I stated in my first mold remediation video, if you were to get 3 separate quotes from 3 separate mold remediation companies, they will literally be all over the place. Literally, just recently, I had a client that had 3 separate quotes from 3 separate remediation companies. One quote was $4,500, the second quote was $7,000, and the third quote, get this, was $14,000, and it was all at the same property. Now, it turns out, after speaking with the contractor that gave the $14,000 quote, it wasn't quite that bad. Basically, the contractor that gave the $14,000 quote was assuming once he removed the vanities and the wall covering, he's going to find more mold than anticipated, while the other 2 contractors were basically just putting in their quote to remove and assess the area behind it. But the problem with that is, the company that I gave the $14,000 quote, if they removed the vanity and the wall covering and didn't find any mold, which I didn't think they were going to, then they were not going to give any bit of that $14,000 back. Now, the other 2 contractors may have found more mold than previously thought, and they could have went back and charged more, but me, as well as them, were thinking that was not going to be the case. Next, I'm going to give you 3 tips that you absolutely must know before hiring a mold remediation specialist. But stick around because then I'm going to give you a real life example of an estimate so you can see and compare it to what is going on at your home.
Tip number 1. Make sure the contractor gives you a breakdown of exactly what you're going to be paying for. For example, you will see here on this estimate, the remediation company is charging to haul debris per truckload. They're saying there will be 1 truckload, but they aren't saying how much that costs. On this other one, they're showing the same thing of removing the debris of 12 yards or less for $120. This way, you're going to know exactly what you are paying for. Tip number 2. Find a local company and not a franchise. When you have a local company with the owner who is typically on site, they can mostly charge less because they have a lower overhead. Now, of course, this is not always the case because greed is in human nature. And some local companies will charge more because, well, they can, but not because they need to. But in my experiences, an ethical local business will charge less than a franchise. Tip number 3, hire a licensed mold inspector to write something called a protocol. A protocol will spell out exactly what needs to be done, and it will be done by an independent third party. Now, this could help prevent the mold remediation company from telling you there is unnecessary work that needs to be completed. A mold assessment may be expensive up front, but the money it helps save will all be worth it. So if you follow these 3 steps, I'm confident it can help you from getting taken advantage of.
Now I want to show you a job that I was involved with as a mold assessor. The remediation company is an honest company and they do good work. I believe that this is a pretty fair quote. Basically, at the job location, there was a chronic roof leak that was causing water damage to an area of about 8 feet high and 20 feet long. The air quality was unaffected by the place, but there was mold when a small piece of wall was removed to see within the wall cavity. So I'm going to take you down the estimate 1 item at a time so you can see what the normal prices of something should be charged. Now keep in mind, depending where you are in the country or even in the world, these prices may vary.
First, he had the emergency response team, and this was marked for 2 guys working for 1 day at $80 a piece. Then we have the setting up the containment barrier at $125. The containment barrier is basically crucial to preventing cross-contamination. Next, we have air scrubbers, which are used to remove airborne particles. He had 2 present running for 3 days. Now, realistically, he only needed 1 air scrubber, but the client wanted one in the living room as well. Now, that cost is $780 for a 3-day rental, which was the highest priced item on the list. After that is a dehumidifier for a 3-day rental to dry out all remaining building materials and keep the humidity down. That was $360 for 3 days. Then he charged $500 to apply an antimicrobial agent, which is probably a little high, but that stuff is not cheap and it still needs to be done. And then here we have $80 for personal protective equipment. Then $300 for HEPA vacuuming, which is a necessary process. $100 to get rid of the debris. Then seal the remaining area with antimicrobial paint, and he's charging $400. Now, for removing the water damaged area, which is actually it was just drywall, he's charging $440, which again is probably a little bit high, but I don't think it's that bad. Now, this does not include the build back. So the total cost of mold remediation only was $35.25. So you can see mold remediation was not cheap. Now, I left one particular item out, and that is the area right here that says equipment setup, takedown, and monitoring, hourly charge. Now, he also has up here, as we went over, set up and preparation of safe area, the containment barrier, basically. Now, here's the thing. I don't really know what the equipment setup, takedown, and monitoring is. So the reason why I'm pointing this out is you can approach them, say, well, listen, you're charging me to set up a preparation and safe area. What exactly is the equipment setup and takedown and monitoring, the hourly charge? Why are you charging that? Because I personally don't know exactly what that cost is. So that's why I wanted to leave that to the end and point that out to you.
Now, these clients also had another quote for $4,200. So this is really the going rate for it. Again, not cheap. So you may be looking at a quote that's a similar issue, but it's about double that. Now, the reason could be your issue is airborne. It's affecting the air quality, and they need to do contents cleaning, which in the industry is called micro cleaning, and that could be very expensive and really drive the prices up. So that's it. I hope this video gave you some clarity in regards to mold remediation and what you should be paying. Now, as a token of my appreciation for watching this entire video, you can go ahead and click the link in the description box, and I'm giving you a free present. It's my list of recommended products that you can use to not deal with mold remediation. Now, these are for small issues and not for big leak issues that need mold remediation. Also, you can go ahead and send me any kind of quotes to brad@lookmold.com. I'd be more than happy to look over them. Now, keep in mind, like I said, wherever you are in the country or the world, it may not be the same prices that I'm used to dealing with, but I will give you my best piece of advice. This has been Brad with Lookmold.com. Go ahead, give this video a thumbs up, and thank you for watching.